Alright, masters, it is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to make a quick video about a survival hack that I want to warn people about, that it will almost never work. But before we do that, if you're interested in survival courses, there will be in the link, in the description, there will be a link to my survival courses in Belgium and a link to my book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch, so if you're interested, take a look at it. So, the belt is something that I've had a talk about with somebody, and they claimed that you could use a belt as a tourniquet in case you're perhaps having an accident, you've been robbed, perhaps during wartime, and the idea is you don't have anything else on you to make a makeshift tourniquet. You don't have something to like use your shirt, put it around and twist it with a hard handle like a tactical pen, a piece of iron, or a stick or twig or something. And yeah, your only thing you got is your belt that you can have only 1 minute to decide what to do to stop an artery bleeding. So this person claimed that what he did claimed was he would take his belt and he would at the beginning here he would make extra holes in it. So the idea was that he would take his belt off and if he has a bleeding of serious wounds with an artery bleeding around here, that he would take his belt, put it around, and use the smaller holes to make it extra tight, and then start to cut off the bleeding, so to say. But there are several problems with this premise. The first problem, in my opinion, is if it's going to work, it can only work on your legs. Because if you're going to try this on your arms, for example, you're wounded at the arm, there is no way to, even if I have extra holes around here and I make it as tight as possible, you need both hands to push it in. And the problem with that is, if one arm is so wounded that you have to use a tourniquet here, the high likely is you will not be able to use the hand that is being wounded. So doing it with one hand, you will never be able to make it tight here, let alone to put it in and cut it off like that. So that's the first problem. It cannot be used at arms. So the second thing is, if it's going to be used and you're going to use it around your legs, like I said, the premise is you make it as tight as possible. But even if I put all my strength into it, I make it as tight as possible, I can still feel the blood flowing. I can still feel the pulse on the arteries around here. So it will only lessen the blood, but not that much. So if it's an artery bleeding, you will still have bleeding, and by the time medical professionals arrive, you will be bled to death. And even the only case scenario where I can think of that this can work is if you are wounded, help is on their way, like an ambulance or something, and you put it as hard as possible uh, onto your leg and keep it that way by yourself or by help of somebody else. But even then, I can notice that my leg is starting to feel numb, a little bit sleepish, but not. I can still feel the blood pumping through. Even if you use it with the holes, I would say that it's even worse, because if you want to get into a hole that is closed off, you need to push it a little bit through and make a little bit wiggle room to put the lever inside of the hole, and that way you will lose a 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters, and that is some more wiggle room that blood can flow through. So that's a really serious problem. And what also is a problem is that if it's not going to work this way and you're going to use it as a tourniquet, the problem is this belt is so wide and belts of leather are often that strong that if you're going to use a tourniquet, it is very hard to twist it because of the width of the material. So that way you can better use a shirt that is more flexible enough to twist it around, but the belt on itself is not a good option. Um, what you perhaps can do is you can use one of these belts with this kind of lock mechanism. But the problem with this here, if I'm going to show you, I'm going to put this on like this, and you're going to make it as tight as possible. But even then, the mechanism does not allow it, because you cannot hold pressure here and pull it tight, because it's been held by the weight of the metal lock mechanism that you even have to lock up, and that still does not work. You can try it out for yourself, but I've done here some tests. I even done some tests with the stethoscope to see to get an idea how much less blood there will be flowing, to see if it's worth it for perhaps winning half a minute or 1 or 2 minutes more for the professionals to arrive. I don't think so. It's better to improvise a bleeding on, to improvise a tourniquet on another way, or in a worse way, you or somebody else have to put thumb pressure onto the femoral artery or some other artery that you can do, or if it's on your arm, at least push it to close it off as much as possible till medical help arrive, or somebody else can help you close it off too. But the belt is not a good improvised tourniquet, even if you make extra holes, even if you think you can try to use a tweak stick or a pen as a turning point for your tourniquet, because this material is too wide, too big of a width to twist it around. So I would say do not use tourniquets, leather belts as tourniquets is what I'm trying to say. Try to find another way to always be prepared for this kind of first aid emergency. So if you have any other ideas about this, perhaps other things that you can do with belts that I can test out, please let me know. I'm always eager to learn. Like, subscribe, and all the good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers!